Please be seated. This morning we are gathered those of us that are just please let's come to the front. Those that will sit at the back, please do me the honor of coming to the front and sit so that those who are following will sit at the back so that the geography and the photography can be of the main environmental challenges
and the environment in Africa. Rank among the most expensive globally and least dependent and clear environments around the globe.
My
Now, coming
laptop,
down
my
to
laptop,
Nigeria,
please. My
oil
laptop.
spills, gas flaring, and industrial
Let me plug my
pollution
laptop. The
continue to
charger is low.
weaken our fragile marine ecosystems. Our rivers, our lagoons are under pressure from untreated waste discharge, plastic pollution, sand dredging. These are basic practices which alter our freshwater systems while the saltwater intrusion is steadily contaminating and drinking water. Currently, Nigeria very simple 0.6 global hectares. This means a biologically effective biocapacity deficit of approximately 0.4 global hectares per person. Right now, we are not inheriting the earth from our ancestors. We are borrowing it again. We are spending the economy faster than our planet doesn't argue. It doesn't shape. It's healthy. For our health, our future. This year's theme resonates strongly with the SDG goals. With the SDG goals, particularly the 13, which talks about climate action, a global call for urgent and collective action to combat climate change and its impacts. As environmental advocates, as scientists, as security personnel, as academics, as students, we must recognize the sobering reality. We cannot continue to consume nature faster than nature can regenerate itself. Nigeria's ecological resources are under immense pressure through deforestation, gas flaring, indiscriminate waste pollution of our waterways, wetlands, and overexploitation of our natural resources. As an African proverb reminds us, the earth is not ours. It is a whole. So we must ask ourselves, what is or why as Admiralty University of Nigeria, with our vision to build a university of global relevance and competitiveness, with local relevance and global competitiveness. Sustainability must be part of who we are, not just what we teach. We must become a model institution in Nigeria, where environmental stewardship is woven into teaching, innovation, and our daily practice. What are we to do? We must restore degraded soil through reforestation. We must advance sequestration. We must promote renewable energy and encourage proper waste management. Let us be inspired by nature for the climate and build a future that is environmentally secure, economically prosperous, and socially sustainable. As we engage, reflect, and recommit ourselves to this cause, let us remember that protection is not just a one-day event. It is a responsibility, it's a lifelong responsibility and a duty call that demands consistent action from all of us across disciplines. In the spirit of today's gathering, I leave you all with a timeless reminder. We do not inherit the earth, we borrow it from our children. Thank you very much and happy work environment. The Environment Day is also.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next panel is of the beautiful. Young with the current people faculty, the current faculty.
They are mindful, probably on the sustainable development goals, also as the There is a United Nations member countries. The goal of make the world a better, safer, and sustainable. It involves reminding us that we all have a role to play in protecting people, protecting our planet, and building a better future. Even as children, management, staff, and students of Admiralty University of Nigeria, we can all contribute by saving our environment, planting trees, avoiding waste generation, take care of our environment clean, and now we will SDGs. No clean, health and well-being. 4. Quality education. 5. Gender equality. 8. Business for and SME solution and infrastructure. 10. Very and strong institution. 17. Family for the goal. Not to sponsor effort in achieving the goal one by one. Everyone is only the
Well, people are not going to I'm very good very. Alright, if the students for this mark, I would like to provide time in June. Thank you.
The Vice Chancellor, evidently presented by Professor Rambo, and other principal officers here, directors, and members of staff of Admiralty University. Good morning to you all. Standing before you, I will be presenting the topic nature-based solutions are more effective than technological solutions addressing climate change challenges. It's not easy that climate change is one of the major challenges in this present time and age. And so, as we all know, climate change is caused by technological solutions in addressing climate change. So I present to you as students who are debating for and against this form of speech. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable appreciated by co-speaker. My name is Austin Design, the festival of disposition. Okay, I found it because the local say that the nature-based solution is more effective than the philosophical solution in addressing climate change challenges. Let's look at the meaning of climate change. In the long-term weather condition caused by the human activity and deforestation, pollution, and the rest of them. These activities release harmful substances or harmful gases into the atmosphere through or leaving global warming. So here are the examples of climate change. This includes the excessive heat, the flooding, the drought, the rising sea level, and the irregular rainfall patterns. Today, many countries are suffering from environmental disasters because climate is no longer balanced. Ladies and gentlemen, despite all the technologies created by man, nature still remains the basic answer to climate change. Why? Because nature has been still remains the natural way of controlling climate. Trees, forests, and oceans absorb carbon dioxide through the atmosphere from the natural processes. They purify the air, they also reduce the greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, responsible to global warming. ability to already provide strong solutions without depending on any every technology. Thank you. So now how do I to the next opponent on their own?
It's not working. It is shaking.
Good morning, everyone. Something already started on the protocol. My name is Admiralty, and I am a student of the program of foreign. So I believe that government solutions are more effective than clearly people aspect in getting this language into technology. So now technology can be as the application or can be a scientific knowledge or application of tools, machinery, and systems invented by humans or built by humans to help solve problems and make work easier for mankind. Now, as you all know, technology has a very, very vast scale. That is, it has a very, very large, it works on a larger scale, helping millions of people at a time. Now, I would like to cite an example. In a case
Wi-Fi.
whereby I want to access the internet for weather forecast control and all of that, as a meteorologist, that is someone that analyzes data for weather information. How do you know what the weather will be tomorrow? Now, do you just wait for nature to take its course, or we act, or we call it technology? Now, the answer is how the weather will be, how the
Which one is
how the weather
Admiral?
will be next one
Check.
day and to make work easier and faster. Now, in that kind of situation, do you think I
Abi
will just
una
wait,
cancel YouTube.
or do you think I'll wait for nature to take its course when I know that I already have a very, very fast solution at my feet? That kind of situation really has technology. Now, some people might be wondering
Connect
how
ICT.
the
ICT
internet
can
can
use time.
replace learning.
Eh?
Tomorrow and it's going to cost knowledge. How do we control that? As a meteorologist, with the help of technology, on the help of this technological equipment, like radar systems and satellites, I can easily access my
Since you say
internet
YouTube will
and
not work now,
control the weather
check Facebook.
against
But Facebook will be
tomorrow's
connected.
incident, or against tomorrow, yes, against
Try
tomorrow's
to
incident. And I don't see maybe I applied
let me
technology.
just have it has not
Technology
loaded
quick
yet.
or faster to the use of internet. So with the use of internet, we have, or with the use of internet, we can also mitigate climate change with the help of technology. Having said that, I'd like to remind you for my next contestant question. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Starting on the basic and technical issues in mitigating climate change challenges. Manchester again depends on the establish the fact that nature has its own way of mitigating these climate change challenges without the use of expensive machines. I think we can take three other points to back up. Manchester again is a cost and benefit. You already agree that we are in a climate emergency, so we don't have 20 to 30 years to wait for scientists to invent new technology for us. You have the other. So So we and some of these technology, yeah, to filter carbon from the atmosphere, each one of carbon requires up to 600 to 1,000 dollars. And to compare that to the initial based solution like planting of trees and securing our wetlands, you see that the cost difference, they are not the same, they are not close to each other. Nextly, my second point is the breakdown. These machines that filter carbon from the atmosphere, if you use power or someone to cybersecurity attack, it will stop instantly. But nature is infinite, it continues. Even if a forest gets dry, it will replace itself, adapt. The third is the green energy trap. Later on, my opposing team will say that okay, there are direct energy capture machines linked into solar, just like how the plants are powered by the sun through photosynthesis. But keep this in mind, the energy, because we are quite globally facing a clean energy shortage globally. Now take this in mind, this solar energy that we are making use for, can't we go to our schools, our hospitals, and our very important to emphasize and who are okay, time. Last year, handing over to the next open.
Good day, everyone. Standing on the leg of from the whole sector that the medical solution in addressing climate change. Firstly, technological solutions are not limited by capacity. Where it says trees can water by organized from the atmosphere, not only carbon dioxide and methane that greenhouse gases that affect all other different types of gases, such as methane, we also have nitrogen oxide, fluorinated gases, and the tree is using to all other greenhouse gases. And also, methane is and major greenhouse gases. Except for carbon dioxide. Whereas technology can capture methane and turn it into more renewable energy. And also it can detect and repair gases, which we also talking about. Natural prevention mainly focuses on one greenhouse gas, which is carbon dioxide. Whereas technology is vast, technology methods are vast, and focuses on other issues. You cannot say that, oh, the take a method focusing addressing part of the problem rather than taking a method that addresses the whole entire issue. Also prevent further work. Natural based method addresses the issue after it already arose, while technological method addresses one place. It can be used anywhere. Unlike natural based method, which is used everywhere. Today, everyone, my name is Ezeoba. I am a student of conservation and environmental biology, and I am here to support solutions which states that solutions are more effective than technology solutions in combating climate change. Firstly, long-term sustainability. Natural-based solutions are more sustainable and more affordable than access, allowing rural communities developing countries to participate fail education action with their limited resources. Finally, multiple benefits. Natural-based solutions do not only absorb carbon emissions, but they also help in biodiversity, soil health, and water resources, enabling them to be broader environmental benefits. In conclusion, natural-based solutions are sustainable, accessible, and beneficial to both humanity and nature. It is clear that natural-based solutions deserve to play a critical role in climate mitigation. Thank you. Handing over to my friend.
Everyone, standing there, I need to get done. I'm here to oppose the state that under this election is more efficient than the technological selection. When this happens, we have one years to absorb large amount of water. The single wildfire can destroy that forest in days and release that forest carbon back to the atmosphere. In contrast to others, technology such as panels, wind turbines, and electric vehicles reduce emissions directly and do not reduce years of avoided emissions or damage. For climate mitigation, reliability matters. Technological-based solutions provide reduced reductions that are more sustainable if they are
So, moving on, we have my fellow supporting motion, natural education, and more investing in education. I'll be quoting on this argument. Professor, I want to direct the question. Can you do what you don't have? Let me answer. No, you can't. Why is that? Because you are literally living in an expensive religion. So the thing now is that your health-based solution which provide what we call the I don't know if you find how it's called the direct action. The technology is responsible for extracting CO2 from the atmosphere. Why do I say that living in an expensive religion? You are using generating a lot of cost, generating a lot of electricity. And for a country like Nigeria or a country like Africa, we cannot manage such extent. It's made up in us, but I don't know what I'm saying. So what is the bottom line of all of this? Yes, we know that there is that. Yes, we know it's powerful and the carbonic industry and energy. Yes, we know. What if you actually want to go for sustainability, longevity, large scale, long-term climate action, and that is what that was. I know we are all looking for solutions, yes, but we should still consider the fact that we should aim for biodiversity. Because your tech-based solution almost always support deforestation. You actually clear down the trees just to put like industry. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Princess Akuja, and I'm the Forest. I'm here to add more focus to my openness and against social. We also need to develop opportunities for everyone. So, technological solutions we address climate change, but at the same time, we focus on meeting human needs. So that is the one biggest of technological solution. And also for the natural selection. Imagine natural solution, sorry. Imagine something like a natural disaster like wildfire just take over a plot of land with trees that have been completely covered. Imagine that times two of what out because the disaster from
Okay, thank you so much for the first round. So we're going to the second round, and to counter their points now, they will produce the points, so they want to counter each other. Each of you have forced us to counter, irrespective of who is ready to do that. Okay? So, the time starts.
Okay, thank you. I want to direct my comment you made mention of wildfire and tree, but your DAC is only attention in a direction. In fact, there are actually have to do. But in terms of being directed action, with the high cost of maintenance, high cost of generation of electricity, which can in turn slow down the rate at which we suffer damage, which will follow the process. I don't know if you understand. Thank you.
You said when the fire, when the trees get burned down, they can be created. How long does it take a tree to mature? The mature, yeah. And that when our scientists are being able to repair the broken down system. Repair the broken down system can take 3 months if they are capable hands, or 6 months. It's a matter of the tree cannot be one day. Testing, research, construction, and regulatory approval. So if you are taking faster, actually, I still believe that national processes are faster. Because this is long process. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so I like what my opponent said. When he said that in the case whereby situation come up, then let's assume about to analyze the data and content of equipment get broke or something happens to it. And my colleague said, it says over time, yes, climate over time, natural solutions might come up, but I'm not sure that technical solutions are more effective. Now, I'm talking about effectiveness. Over time, in my country, let's say it can, in my country, well, this has how many years this year? Now, my equipment, fine, it's only if my equipment gets broken down, I can, as I said earlier, in less than 6 months, maximum a year, I'm back to my speed. Okay, I'm back to my place. And now that's why technology will have extra and very positive effectiveness in controlling climate change. Thank you.
I would like to come back to my intervention. Yes, you said that only is an efficient, but just as I said, the accessibility is also a problem. In countries like Nigeria that is developing nations, the solution is here, but do we see the solution in accessibility? One natural-based solutions are more accessible for the common man and for the local community to actually carry it out instead of waiting for the government to contribute more funds towards the technological solutions, which can take years or even decades. Thank you. Okay, I would like to address it. You said that in Nigeria, we don't have such technologies like in our ground. But we have more trees, we have planted more trees. How long will it take the tree to grow? We have said that why the tree is growing. It has got support, even why it's growing. And then when it goes to the student, it stores support. And the amount of support that is way lower. I don't know if technology very progress immediately. One thing that is very benefit. More trees plant. Climate is
Increases the carbon dioxide too. Okay, your direct air capture machine, it suffers the carbon dioxide and it stores it in a chamber or in the pipe. Now imagine that something happens to that pipe now when it gets blown up. The surrounding environment near that company will suffer greatly. You understand? So compared to the times two in the environment, that is the whole ecosystem. That particular environment will suffer the accumulation of what you are absorbing for some time. You understand?
I'd like to answer you on that. You said when we use our direct air capture technology to what if the tube or pipe works? Okay, I'd like to tell you something. There's a company, there are companies known as the carbon engineering companies. So these companies use the DAC, that's the direct air capture. They capture carbon from air, and then these carbons are processed into fuels. And then these fuels are used for aviation and transportation fuels. So we are not just taking the carbon and storing them in cylinders. No, that is just more use. We are converting them into fuels. And then these carbons are not stored on the ground, and those carbons are like can have admission for plant growth. So we're not just calling them a seminar, we are recycling it. So now it makes a continuous carbon loop whereby the carbon is no more than what the ecosystem can handle. While we keep recycling it, we're not just keeping it at a particular place. So that's what the direct effect does.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you have plenty to say. So, thank you. I beg your forgiveness. When I came up earlier, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Dr. Valentine Boko, and my colleague introduced them earlier, and I am here to see them off the stage. But then, without wasting more time, I'll have to ask us to please applaud them again. And before they leave the stage, we have people judging what they have been saying and trying to reach a conclusion of who had the superior argument. Doesn't mean that both ways are not good. Both ways are good and super fine. But we want to know who had the superior argument. And in the good spirit, and that today is my birthday, I'm going to give you guys tea. Thank you. You can now come down if we have the results they will give us. Thank you. Well done.
Place where you and me to make it a better place for you and the entire human race.
Thank you very much. This is a very important for them. Such a very insightful speech. Very, very insightful. At some point, I was just saying, well, at the end of this one, I don't know the result coming up from the judges. I just believe the two processes go hand in hand. You cannot do one and then the other. Why the natural solutions are good, so also the technology, they all go together. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the cradle of it. We have come to the interesting part of the meeting. At this juncture, I would like to call on
Where's
the
Miss Crystal? I want to
introduce
stand.
the panel for discussion. Thank you very much.
All this in person.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony. Respected members of the University Management, distinguished professors, HOD chairmen, and respected members. Thank you. On behalf of the Department of Biology and Forensic Science, I am pleased to introduce the plenary session to commemorate World Environment Day 2026. Today's discussion is centered on a topic that has become one of the defining challenges of our time. The topic of our very session today is climate change and ecosystem resilience. We want to look at the role of the university in building and ensuring sustainable development. We already know that climate change is no longer a prediction. It is here. It is now. It is what we see. We see it every day. We see it in different forms. We see effects in rising temperature, changing rainfall patterns, and so many other things. And then in response to this environmental challenge, we have seen that one of the best issues that can give us a sustainable solution to this challenge is the university environment. It is because of this we have assembled teams of distinguished activists, environmental activists, educators, scholars, researchers to come and have a discussion on this important topic of climate change, which is one of the backbone of the environment. Today, I'm going to invite our respected panelists to the stage. Permit me to introduce Commodore Ono. Please, around. Our own Commodore is a respected planner and enthusiast whose leadership, experience, and commitment to environmental stewardship continue to demonstrate that sustainability is not just a matter of environment, sustainability is as well a matter of national security and responsible government. Sir, we are honored by your presence and grateful to have your contribution. Our next panel speaker is Professor Dele. Welcome. Professor Dele is an accomplished environmental scientist whose scholarly contributions have significantly advanced our understanding of environmental policy, pollution control, and efficient restoration. Profit, may I invite you to speak next? Thank you, Prof. Still in the professorial series, our next panelist is Professor D.A. Balogun. Please allow us. Professor Balogun is a distinguished scholar in sustainable manufacturing, whose work has demonstrated how industry and environmental responsibility can successfully coexist in the same atmosphere in the same environment. Thank you, Prof, for accepting our invitation. Our next panelist is Professor A.O. Akinwole. Please, a round of applause. Joining us now is Professor Akinwole. Professor Akinwole is a renowned aquatic engineer and water resource management specialist. Whose expertise is particularly relevant. Thank you, Professor Akinwole. Our next panelist is engineer Dr. C.M. Chieti. Round of applause. Engineer Dr. Chieti, we are proud to welcome you as an accomplished engineer specializing in industry systems, energy, and logistics. These are areas that are very critical to ensuring sustainable environment and climate security in Nigeria and beyond. Then, if you look at our team, we have top high management members, top security members, professors, and as we have seen and as we have known that sustainability is not just the function of a particular generation, it cuts across all generations. So we are going down to the upcoming generation. Our next member of the panel is Dr. Ivo Mbong. Is a Northern ecology and a biostatistician whose expertise is ecological science and data-driven decision making for environmental sustainability. Dr. Mbong prominent representatives for this plenary discussion, who through her research has exemplified passion and curiosity and also commitment in encouraging young people on environmental sustainability. Thank you once again. You are all welcome once again. Our distinguished guests, when we look at the composition of the panel, there are two things that are key. Number one, we see that they are all from different fields, all together to ensure we all respect our environment, and all together to ensure that we are inspired by our environment, and also to encourage us to protect our environment. Another different thing about panel to celebrate the era institutional and travel to war and urban. I also thank the Vice Chancellor for providing the opportunity for members to very put together. So the issue, I thought this pattern was also in the case both sides do a very good job. But the whole solution has to work. Both the natural process and technology goes hand in hand. And so that is the quality test, sustainability, and also the climate action. Now, let me start by providing some details that we don't really come out in the other aspects that we dealt with so far. The federal government of the school has established climate change institutions. We have the National Climate Council in Abuja, and we also have the Climate Act of 2021. where every activity about climate change or not address the issue in line with our various bilateral and multilateral engagements are clearly spelled out. So our advice to students to really look at the document and see how we can equally utilize it for research. Having said that, I want to, from the naval officer, in the South Africa, talk as a naval officer. In 2012, the first that India is a very powerful country, was cut off the entire thing at that time. In fact, it could destroy the road from Ezeoba and power to go to the nuclear man. That's the result of what we face. It became exaggerated, it's not because of the consequence, direct consequence of the Bulgarian education or the laws, but because the human action itself, our discipline, implementation, and observing human development, also be on board. Now, they are from ground because the state government has a responsibility, the state government has a responsibility, and the local government has a responsibility. Unfortunately, in our country, the local government is usually absent. And the same problem is also the local government. The local government is provide a very good support to how we address climate change. From the naval perspective, what we go to see, we see when the first physical agents that we pay more attention. And I can tell you that over time, our accident fishermen, the water industry of the regulation that we measure the way we manage it. We cannot the economy involved because selling vessels, selling ships, selling any car is what we need to have a safe navigational path. With this disruption, it is causing a very big challenge. But however, I want to tell you that this now, the league is very aware of how it goes in address the issue of change. It's going to provide intelligence on optimal mission and all the requirements and new data will be provided. So, all the things my time. Thank you very much for your contribution to the environment. Now we move to the next progress of the have to mentor that the environment and sustainability of the future of all. So the questions around your research, from your academic advocacy contribution to knowledge, how does your field connect with climate change, ecosystem resilience, and environmental sustainability? Thank you very much. Before I answer, I want to say that the issue of environment, concern for the environment started as far back as 1963, when concerned scientists formed unions of concerned scientists because of what was coming. And then they issued a statement called Warning to Humanity. That was the 1992, right? Union of concerned scientists. Let me quote the statement. Human beings and natural law are on a collision course. Human activities inflict harsh and often irreversible damage on the environment and on people. That has become union of concerned scientists. Is it we are on a collision course? The concept of something simply it says take what you need so that future generations will also have something to do. That is the true definition of today as an apostle to friends. Is the recycling of nutrients, the recycling of material. That is what sustains the earth. If you look at the earth from the outer space, you will see that the average jungle, the individual forest, past the condition. Our mountain is also the earth cannot exceed its elastic limits. Don't forget in the first law of thermodynamics, matter can never be destroyed, it can only be created, and it can only be transformed from one form to another different. And it is this transformation that sustains the earth. And our microorganisms and micro continue to circulate this system to many years ago, and they are still on top of the earth. You won't have faith. Not for nothing. The revolution is not for nothing. And I want to tell you that we are also on the scientific system. Look, we are born from women, and we are product of women's ovarian. That is a man from God. The scientific pattern. See, a lot of people know me. If I try to say, oh, that's what it is. So what is the same man of God? How do we know? The same man of God is the scientific pattern. God created that deliberately. So things are separated. Now we are destroying it out of greed. Because when the next time we are talking about social justice, environmental religion. But for now, my complaint ensures nutrients are circulated, regenerated, so that we can continue to take a organic will be thinking long. production cost. Where the production cost of the natural environment. And we must be very careful. Otherwise, we will be here. So we must sustain the environment. Thank you very much for reminding us that this morning and continue to work, to learn, and work together. Who is also an advocate of sustainable manufacturing. How does your field ecosystem resilience and environmental manufacturing? If I ask a simple question here, how many are taking something or are eating something that is manufactured in this country? Practically all. Now, what have we done with what we consume? Take for example, the pure, the drink and water, and then the plastic. Of course, and that model is take from the earth, extract it, produce it, and then consume it, then dispose it. So take or extract, consume, dispose. That has been the human. And that has been what is continuously being implemented at everyone, all of us. For my research model has been into the sustainable development pattern. And that's why we going out towards green manufacturing. Now, when you green manufacturing, it means that you are considering the area whereby you reduce your consumption, the way you use electricity to produce the component, you reduce the way you extract our raw materials from the soil, you reduce the way you don't know that to the circular economy. So we have green manufacturing whereby the circular economy you keep it in the economy as long as you can. That means you keep bringing it back, you keep cycling it, just like one of the panelists said. You keep cycling it, you keep cycling it, you keep cycling it. For example, we are looking into a particular recycling government, whereby we are picking all the sachet water trash, and then we are putting them into cotton threads, like cotton threads, and we now use it to make bags. Right? So we are recycling the sachet water bags into what we call sleeping mats. That sleeping mat will continue, you sleep with it, you fold it, you pack it, you pray with it, you fold it, you pack it, and then you keep recycling. So, a green manufacturing will take to bring about everything. Welcoming environment. But we are going further to tell them that no, it is not the onions operation. When I look at onion operation, you smell outside and inside is dirty. It's not the onions operation that we're talking about. We are talking about the impact of what we are producing in the ecosystem. So we are looking at the general manufacturing and consuming things have completely changed. And that's why we use a model. Very soon, the model is coming on, where we call it the T concept. That is where you think grain, you eat grain, and you act grain. So all of that, and then the system, maybe we use this, change the way we extract raw materials from the soil, and change the way we dispose our manufactured products. Then I will stop at that for now. When the next one comes, thank you. Thank you very much for your sharing your idea with us in sustainable recycling and sustainable manufacturing. I'm very sure before the end of this program, we will do a lot of requests to join you your research. Thank you. And let's meet Professor Admiral. Prof, sincerely, each time I see you, I need to see water. Because I was told that that is your area of expertise. Water is something. So, and then we all know that about 71% of the earth crust covered by water. Meaning, if we are discussing about the environment, the health of the environment, we are also discussing about the health of our water body. And also, coupled with that, we are also especially in aquaculture. So I would like you to relate what we are doing to your area of specialty. Thank God I spoke about. Well, why we are here is because we have a problem with our climate. We have a problem with our environment. And that problem started from the beginning of creation. My grandmother used to say something. When you give somebody freedom without discipline, you create chaos. Unfortunately, that's what God did. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. I'm not a pastor, please don't pick me at one. That's why when you have your Bible in your own, that's where God gave us authority to subdue the fishes of the sea, the creatures of the land, and to rule over the entire universe. If you have your Bible, you can confirm it. Unfortunately, man messed up that authority given by God. And that's why we are at this problem today. We are recklessly subduing the heart, creating problem for ourselves now. Made of water. That carbon dioxide that we have generated, the engineers, industrial, and others, it is absorbed by the water body, creating what? In the ocean, it creates acidification. For those who are covered with that carbon dioxide mixing water, creating carbonic acid. We have acidification. Now, generally, the pH of the ocean and water bodies are risen by up to 1 unit. And that's the problem we are facing. Sea levels are risen because we have high atmosphere in the area and others. Water is now coming back to us. Instead of staying where it is, our problem is going to water back to us. Now we have less land, less survival for the ocean organisms. And then 90% of our survival rests on plants and water. So we are the creator of the problem for ourselves. So now rectify it, we need urgent nature-based solutions. And then we go flood wall, we take the Multipurpose wall, seaside you have sea wall, but without the ecological restoration, those walls will come to nothingness. And the government said, okay, what is the role of the university? Somebody will say, why the university concerned? Government make the policy, the industry take up those policies to implement and obtain it. But both the industry and the government do not know themselves in terms of the information given by both parties. The industry will see the government as wanting to increase tax. Government will see the industry as something to generate data needed for those policies and also to train the talent and industry need to implement those policies. That is why we are here as knowledge production center to produce the manpower and also generate for the government what is needed to make and implement good policies. But in doing that, it is discussion by the students whether the technical solution is the best problem. Let's go back to the India. The impact of you can't just do anything without involving the community. In India, the fact that there are a lot of venomous programs are fighting people, attacking people. You give a initially, people come up with a lot of programs. And the problem that they will give it and cover the program population is using. They were getting the death program, but they were not getting the death from the well. People are producing them in their backyard and collecting the money because the community was never taking the money. So they now think about to pay money to cover like this. And nobody did out the cover now is by continue. In doing that, we also bring it to the so that when they see that by the time you are doing this, they are saying, okay, let me use my neighbor as an example. When you have a number rating, they say you are handling this machine. Say yes, and you know there are a lot of officers on this ship. If you let it go, those officers will die. You say yes, so you let it go. They say that, but if you tell you, you also will die. The guy doesn't want to die, does he? sorry, the 4th century, we have that and particularly electricity. The unfortunate thing is that in that form, for you to store electricity, you have to store it in another form of energy, maybe electrical or whatever, maybe form of battery. And for you to convert that back to electricity, you are also creating some more carbon footprint. In other words, as we are producing energy or electricity, we are producing carbon footprint, increasing carbon footprint. We are increasing greenhouse gases anytime. As you see history now, greenhouse gases are being produced. So we have to see why, since we must keep on producing, how do we, create resistance adaptation? So we get areas or produce means of getting people adapted to what is happening, and as well as reduce their use of this energy. Why say reduce? Okay, yes, maximize it. If you like, call it optimize it. We tell them three means of optimizing the energy being produced. So that if we must always use what we need, if we don't need this life, we have to put it up. Because the less we use, the less greenhouse gases that are being produced. So our energy management optimization is to tell people how to adapt to what we have come to see. How to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And of course, provide alternatives. And look for a way of increasing the capacity of the alternatives such that with time, the needs of producing this energy using these fossil sources will be reduced. While we now, if possible, take the alternative of renewable energy. That is the one I can say for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for letting us understand the importance of adaptation and optimization in ensuring resilience and sustainability of our environment. Thank you. Now we move on to Dr. Mbong, a biostatistician and an ecologist. Dr. Mbong, I want you to link this your area of specialty to how can we use this your area to improve climate change, ensure environmental sustainability, and also environmental resilience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the question. Keeping it simple and straight. Ecology, the knowledge of ecology helps us first to understand the nature and effect of climate change. How it comes about, contributes and effect on the components, living and non-living components of the environment. Then it also helps us in different times. And beyond this, it also assists us adapt technology. Then it lifting to the topic. the prevailing amount of profit might not be equal to what is intended. So, the knowledge of it helps us adapt technological basics as well as natural solutions to our specific life. And then the balance yes, the statistics that the directly variables statistics, their prediction also
important to provide reliable scientific evidence that supports environmental
From your experience in flooding that happened, I want to ask you, how are sea levels rise, constant erosion and flooding? As someone who has been in coastal
examples, Ogun State is a place like Italy. You have a situation where we've lost substantial amount of land, and it's happening every day. People's ancestral great grandfathers' grave are no longer existing. Churches that were built, mosques, houses are gone. Forces people to move further inland. And when they move further inland, ownership becomes an issue because it's too it makes those that are not started who are amenable to being deceived through the rest to go into crimes. Yes. Then we talk about, we come to area like it's called Ogene in Delta State area, the same chapters. In Bayelsa, Sangama particularly, areas, the same challenge. So, in terms of security, it is a complete direct feed into security issues because causing community disputes, family disputes, which is causing all the restiveness and affecting excellent communal peace. Now, we found out again that over time, because the Navy approached one of its strategies to deal with maritime crude threats and other crimes along the inland waters particularly, is to approach it with a strategy called the choke point strategy. What is the choke point? The choke point is to place an outpost at that point where two rivers meet. So the Navy will not dissipate its energy by going to over patrol, which is our waste resources that are not there, buying fuel and the rest. So we put fixed stations, all those choke points, so that whatever you do, you come and look at. There's no way you can take out crude oil to external parties in the ocean without coming to that channel. And when you come there, you can accept it. So over the time, we have seen that rise in the sea level, some of these disruptions have fuel insecurity in the sense that youths who hitherto have engaged in artisanal farming, overfishing, in productive business are now led into going to crude oil breaking of pipes for survival. So it's an issue, and the government is doing a lot about it. Now I talk about, the government has a whole of society approach, which is enshrined in the climate change act. This university must, as a matter of urgency, what has happened to you, create a green board. Because the only university that can leverage the assets of the Nigerian Navy to feed a lot of data, American data, and even supports, both internally and externally. The Navy today concludes the 70th anniversary of sea power finance improvement. Some of the issues discussed in the Navy, what are discussing today. So you have a very fantastic opportunity that no other university has, so which you must give them for purpose of research, for purpose of even enhancing our own environment, and for the purpose of even enhancing our students, we needed this to actualize their potential in most of this environment. I will stop here so that I can
ensure the safety of our environment and also really fight climate change because the problem of climate change has gone down up to the extent of being a serious national security issue. I want to thank you for opening our eyes to the opportunities that we can tackle as students and staff of this university. Thank you. Professor Dele, one important thing that baffles me is each time we are talking about climate change, most times we always neglect the role of microorganisms. But I know that they have a role in cutting and they also have a role in solving this issue of climate change. I want to ask you first, how do microbes contribute to climate regulation, ecosystem restoration, and resilience in the face of environmental change? Thank you, Prof.
The microorganisms actually are the entities that sustain Earth. Like I said earlier, they are the ones that recycle nutrients to make it available for plants. We know in the biological science, we talk about different cycles. Phosphate, sulfur, carbon, and even water. The generation of carbon dioxide is also part of microbial activity. Let me not go ahead because of our ocean. But we know that at the end of what we call the credit cycle, we generate carbon dioxide. But that carbon dioxide is utilized by plants. And the algae, the blue-green algae, they take it back and recycle it to produce carbohydrates, which you and I consume. The problem we have is that our activity and the intellectual activity is destroying the capacity of this microorganism to recirculate it. You see, we have a concept in life science. Everything that is naturally generated, we also naturally degrade so that we can enter the cycle. But in structural solutions, the microorganisms are facing challenges of things that are completely new in the ecosystem. And so, our task as microbiologists, this is part of our research, is to develop using genetic engineering, manipulating the DNA, so that this organism can produce enzymes that will break down recalcitrant compounds, release the nutrients which are used by plants. Because if the plants are not there, they are the ones that absorb carbon dioxide. The seeds absorb carbon dioxide. So you have a crop of plants, including the seeds. I'm sure that my friend will tell you that there are lots and lots of things in ocean that we don't know yet. They contribute to the sustainability of the ecosystem. So many we don't know. I'm sure people that are one will agree with me. There are the people in seafarers. There are so much things in the sea that we don't know. But we in the biological science know clearly that there are organisms below and depth that are able to call them extremophiles. They're able to survive there and recirculate carbon. For all these things we are dumping in the ocean is destroying the ability, the capacity of the organisms to circulate the nutrients. If they are not available, then the plants, the oxygen, the sea, and other cannot generate it. So when I talk about the concept of biodegradability, can these things that we are dumping into the air are able to degrade? And so, it is a challenge to my good friend here, Professor Balogu, to think about all of these things they reuse. They make that they use plastic for pure water and other disabilities. It's still there. We are very biologists are looking for ways that we can break this plastic down. We are constructing what we call a consortium of microorganisms. Two things that are attacking for different animals. That is even our own research area. To combat these measures of pollutants that are destroying the ecosystem. What is carbon, methane, and other will be separated, will be converted from one form to another. And what they are doing, they are no longer, they will create a hostile environment of which agriculture can survive. So, that is where we can ensure that the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, all those gases are trapped in the air and are not allowed to go to the ozone layer and destroy the shield, the natural shield that God created for us. And we are going to destroy this by our excesses, by our greed, avarice. Take what you need and leave the rest for your future generation. That is what we do. Thank you. The nature itself is trying to provide solutions to the problem we have. And then, for also encouraging us to go into the field of genetic engineering in order to improve the
function of these microorganisms that help in restoring damage we are caused through industrialization and other things. Professor Balogun, as a scholar and engineer in green manufacturing, I want to ask you, if you look at all these things, there are problems that we created them through industrialization, manufacturing, and engineering. And I believe you, as a green manufacturer, you have solutions to all these environmental impacts. What are the solutions?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. That's a very good one, very good for all of us. Yeah, of course, in the first industrial revolution, the equipment that was produced at that time, like the steam engine, and all of that, it was what we call energy couple. This called energy, in quantum. But as it progressed, the 10, the 4, the 5, the 6 revolution. Manufacturing has evolved to a level whereby we now have what we call the smart machines. Now, if you check in your house, for example now, thank God for the introduction of what we call the prepaid meter. Now, everyone now are now very conscious of their energy level and energy consumption. So they go out there to go and be checking which television device, or which mobile phone, which refrigerator, or which air conditioner will consume very minimum energy. So that for them, just for them, maybe for their personal needs, that okay, I don't want to spend much money on energy. So they go out to look for smart equipment that reduces their energy consumption. And now, in doing that, you are indirectly reducing your carbon footprint. Now, what is happening is this. Now, if you, for us, for example, in green manufacturing, we have introduced what we call the energy limits, and that's we are advocating. That's their campaign. And we are telling all manufacturers that once you produce a product, put your energy limits. Put the label on the product so that your consumer, when looking at the label, you will see they're like bars. You will see, buy any product, just look at it. After the ISO stamp, you will see the energy label inside. They are like bars. Now, if you look at the bar, you will see the number of the quantity of kilowatt of energy that was used to produce that product. And so, if that volume, that energy consumption is high in producing that house, we have advised that consumers will not buy something. And that's their volume. Now, this is to help us to key into the net agenda. United Nations Environmental Body. Now, it means that everybody in the world will now know that, okay, for this month or for this year, I will consume so number of energy and I will contribute so kilogram watt-hour of waste to the zone. So we are indirectly using the amount of energy being consumed by energy. Now again, we are introducing what we call, when presentation was talking now, he said talk about the microorganisms used in maybe production or manufacturing. Now we are key into that. Now we know that there is no manufacturing without a machine. It's not possible. And so what we are doing now is to look at the types of machining processes where we can adopt and adapt microorganisms to perform such machining operations rather than using energy bumping machines to perform this. For example, there's what we call the bio machine, where we use microorganisms to perform machining and smoothing watching your way. Okay? They actually pay polish by advocacy. But many of us don't know. So instead of using energy pumping machine to polish them, sandpaper them, and then do all of that, we are now using advocacy to do that. And that our research is also very important. So if you continue to do this, of course, make sure that you use low energy consuming equipment. Make sure that you are conscious of your own energy footprint, the amount of carbon footprint you are leaving behind when you are consuming the product. Check energy levels, check for the levels, and see what amount of energy you are using to produce the avoid using, high energy consuming equipment, and then all of that together will save our energy. If you reduce, particularly some of us, those in the poultry farm, they are coming after you very soon. Some of you are using this incandescent bulbs. Now that has been cancelled, you have removed it from the market. But if you keep going for it and buying it, they are coming after you very soon, and will seal up your poultry, because you have to keep using that. Okay, some of us, the energy bulb we consume as high as 60 watts. When now you have energy saving bulb of maybe 5 watts, 4 watts, 10 watts. Why you go for 10 watts? And you give brighter light even more than that is too much. So please, let's look at all of that, and together we can build a good ecosystem and reduce our carbon footprint. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Professor, I am trying to say, or I'm getting convinced that the green controllers are putting into the way. Thank you very much, sir. Our next is Professor Admiral. When listening to Professor Dele, he mentioned that there are a lot of companies in the city that they are here, and we know that they have some ecosystem functions, but we don't know. And we believe those companies, maybe they have some functions in ensuring ecosystem resilience and trying to reduce climate change. Prof, can you do more light on that? If there are organisms in the sea that are ensuring ecosystem resilience,
the ability to absorb shock and to changes and yes, there are a lot of organisms. In fact, the Professor Ezeoba of this world will tell you there are more organisms in the sea than we have on land. We have marine basic organisms, invertebrates, all in their own right need to be praised for keeping us alive. Because the basic organisms, for example, the lot of what we consider as waste serve as their main sources of food. The basic organisms. The issue that they cannot handle is what we human beings try to that they are pushed to us because of the extra load we give to them. The Professor the carbonates are essential for share organisms. They need us to be able to protect our seabed. But because of the greenhouse gases and the excess carbon dioxide and the anticipation I talked about earlier, we have more or less built the availability of this carbonate for them, so they are there. So we are causing more problems for them.
to be able to do their job, which is keeping our water safe. All the rivers run into the sea. But the sea also, that's where the highest level of evaporation takes place. That comes back as cumulative clouds, we drop down and rain. So this takes place at various scales, macro and macro scale, which are not seen to us. The fact remains that for those submitting at various topic levels, human beings will have ceased to exist. So that is the fact. Those submitting are there, marine invertebrates, fish, macrophytes, marine mammals, all working together to ensure the various cycles that is needed for survival goes on for the planet.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you for the point here is that even the office that we have in the water body that are supposed to be helping us in ensuring environmental sustainability, Prof has already told us that even those offices are taking challenges. Meaning this is very serious problem we are looking very much for. Now we move on to Dr. Chiridu. You know, sir, what else about things as Martin infrastructure, as mentioned by Professor Paolo. So I want, what else do you think can assist us in ensuring environmental resilience, environmental sustainability, climate change?
Just like I said earlier, we should be working towards positively replacing fossil sources with renewable energy. But the challenge as it stands now is for us to be able to store the energy from these renewable sources in an industrial scale, such that it can, no matter the source of renewable energy, we should be able to gather it together and pump into the grid to serve on an industrial scale. You will agree with me that to a very large extent, renewable energy is doing well, especially domestically for our homes. But industrially, that is the challenge that we are working on now, to be able to harness that energy source to be able to have a grid like a tap. Researches are going on in that area, and I believe that it will be long to begin to explore that area as replacing fossil. Very important. But I want to say this also, talking about resilience, there are some electronic gadgets that we consider, very high demanding, that even when you switch it on, so long as the plug is still on the source, it is still draining your energy. Locally, those of us that are here, I will claim that as a form of resilience. When you switch off, remove the plug from the source. Remove it. It's a way of us maximizing what we have. Somebody might, your handset charger. If you leave it there, it's taking something. Remove it when it is not in use. It goes with commodity. So we are working towards replacing fossil sources to ensure that we get delving into water, for instance. There are some, like irrigation, for instance, which is also a source of using water. If we apply what we call drip irrigation, which irrigates the soil, the crop directly on its roots, rather than flooding the whole environment. This one is targeted on the roots of various plants. It will also help us to sustain our ecosystem. Am I making a point? Good. Well, I would also like to digress because of my peculiar position here. I would like to ask a question before we close here. Is it possible for Admiralty University of Nigeria to apply a policy whereby we say any plastic bag or plastic product that is not recyclable, that we should find it for being used in Admiralty University? Just like we have in Rwanda. This is my is it possible for us to apply that rule? I'm posing that question to us. I would like to get an answer as the dean of students before we leave here. Is it possible to say in Admiralty University, if you are selling anything, don't package anything, you just one of a kind use plastic bag? And even if what you call take away bags, all these ones that are not biodegradable, is it possible for us to stop using them? It's a question I would like to get an answer before we leave here. Because we are talking about sustainability, we are talking about resilience. Is it possible for us to apply it in our development? That is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is a thought-provoking question, and I'm sure everybody is already responding, trying to see if it is possible or if it is not possible. Thank you very much, sir. Now we move on to Dr. Mbong. Dr. Mbong, from an ecological and biostatistical perspective, important is environmental data. We talk about data. So, how important is environmental data in understanding, and how important are those data in designing effective and sustainable strategies to curb climate change?
Thank you for that question. Just like the local addresses present data itself, I want to borrow that thread in attending to that question. You see, you can never picture in a future you have not planned properly. And what it does, like you said, data statistics. Data on its own is a fact that relates the details of an event over time. So for you to be able to, or for us, for an institution to be able to tackle a higher-headed problem such as climate change, we need to understand what has been the trend in the past. How is it changing from today? What are the key performance indices that have been put in place? How are these indices fared over time? What is the anthropogenic influences? How are they contributing to this problem? It is only when we understand this that we can have practical solutions to problems like this. So, data collection must be efficient. We must have reasonable data analyzed properly to actually have a trend and also you can understand and predict what the future will look like. And we try to see how our predictions also vary with time. So data collection analysis is a very important aspect of understanding and mitigating climate. Because if you don't have a functional database and you can trace and relate to the problem, then solving it will remain in the right. Thank you.
Well, also, thank you very much for confirming to us that data is very necessary in everything we do. Now we move to Multipurpose. Multipurpose, today is World Environment Day, and we are still talking about climate change. And pollution is one of the factors that are responsible for this. And today, I heard you talking about environmental challenges. So can you tell us how environmental challenges can help in minimizing or stopping pollution?
Environmental forensics can help to identify the exact sources of pollution in soil, air, and water. For instance, in oil-producing regions like Niger Delta, forensic techniques can help to distinguish between pollution caused by pipeline leakages, illegal refining, and industrial discharge. You can also tell us what type of company produce what type of pollution or pollution through chemical tracking, biological or microbial tracking. This is based on the idea that the same raw material that undergoes different processes will not produce the same material. So through this forensic principle, responsible parties can be held accountable and remediation efforts will target the direct sources of this contamination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But now we move to the final round, and then I am coming back to the first thing of the owners. For the owners now in 1 minute, beyond security concerns, I want to ask you, how do you think institutions like the Nigerian Navy and others, how can it to environmental monitoring put country started protecting our critical ecosystem?
Thank you very much for your question. Admiral is a vehicle for research, it's a vehicle for data, and the establishment has other institutions that have a constitutional backing to provide the new that which Admiral requires to carry out its activities. So as I said earlier, this opportunity has provided a very vibrant path to leverage in that relationship so that it is not just we talk about the going to private council, it is engaging the right institution and doing the right research. And I want to use this opportunity to say that this exposure to this before, we need to, and it's not a test time, look at the climate, look at the increased areas of farming. For the purpose of the test, of bringing the attention of the ground and the strategic and strategic you can see that the students and the class of the work and the lecture of the people, the staff and company strategy. And we collaborate, we don't use the who are very one the company. So this is students to see how this partnership
It's not working. This one does not.
I want to say that from my own by 2020, the International Mental Health Standard has incorporated standard 1 and 2 sustainability, which means that every business entity must become a portfolio of contribution to emission. So it's not like we are going to charge directly or indirectly. Directly, we say that if an individual person we are working with an entity, like a refining company or oil producers, we are playing with carbon dioxide. So we can't, we have to figure it out. It's more about under the complex. You go to the and then, if you are having to indirectly, once you are indirectly, come accounting house, and you are competing or you are the cover accounting service for X companies, and you are equally using the level to power you want that to improve your after the training. So you can see zero business in every aspect of our life, in every every and I think that is a combination of things to is not about to just go by and let us take to the next level. What the concept of having a need for coordination, but the challenge was still need that coordination. Every not also expanding you have a good contact in the everyone to provide support for which we need to contact the health institution. We have all these people on the family, research, and benefits from the other contact in the mitigation and the
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. From Commodore Ono's speech, we've been able to see he also let us understand that as a chartered accountant, they have a special tax and they normally tax people that their activity or industrial activity usually leads to destruction of the environment. So maybe in line with what engineer Dr. Stevens suggested, maybe the university will come up with a policy where each departmental activity that is responsible for discussing the normal function of the environment, maybe they will be taxed. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Professor Ezeoba, a teaching microbiologist. Professor, with your wealth of ideas in your field, how do you think universities or adults at one of the Nigerian universities can help solve this problem of environmental challenges? A solution.
Yeah.
In what way it
You won't know the level of destruction of the environment until you measure or you monitor. Right now, my own program is monitoring air pollution using private because that already has the capacity to accumulate many that come from different emissions, very exhaust. So when you know that, then that will lead to a formation of policy about the emissions of your gas, from your vehicle, and other areas. So what I'm saying is that, from my experience in research over many years, I've come to the conclusion that our colleagues must direct their research toward our own problem. Our own problem. I was in the United Kingdom to do a research. And with my own gathering, who were solving their own problem. Somebody gave me them. And I advocated that when anyone wants to be in the class, let it be proposal on what problems we have. It's only when you don't have certain sophisticated equipment that you can go outside the problem. You go 3 months, 6 months, you come back. This question of sending our people outside to go and do this, we are solving that problem. The Chinese, we invite somebody to give them to the area of agriculture. You know, their land is about 25% of the export. But their population is almost 25%. So their research is how to generate, how to feed their population. So they will give you something to come there and do it. Let us do our own. My postgraduate students are working on our own. What we are doing now, we want to monitor air pollution around us, including Admiralty. The lady doing it is working air pollution now. So I think that's how Admiralty can contribute.
directly on the system towards solving problems that have to do with environmental systems. From engineering everywhere, it's a multidisciplinary approach. And I also think, like someone said, we must influence sector to devote more money towards environmental research. Because without this, like I said earlier, we are heading towards international. As was born in 1992 by the Union Concerned Science. Warning to the world. Thank you.
Talk is emphasizing on local solutions to local problems. And thank you very much, Prof, for letting us know that in fact you are already doing this through your student research. Now, Professor Balo, I want to ask, how do you think adults can collaborate with other industries or other universities in order to develop sustainable materials that are eco-friendly, and also how adults can manage the small waste that is generated now before it becomes a problem and add to the global problem?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I answer that question, you see, if you drive along this expressway, there's a company right there. There's a company there that almost between the hours of 12 to 3 in the morning, they emit high level of carbon, CO2. And I have gone one, I just went to an clinic or hospital around this environment. And the major complaint of patients is heart problem, breathing problem. And that's because that problem is actually the cause of that. Now, if you leave your body open, you only use all of this environment. Okay, you will see carbon deposits on a daily basis that needs to be checked. In fact, on a day like this, it should be a day where we march to that meeting and say no to pollution. Because that pollution is a problem for us. So that's one. That's one way I don't participate. Now, two, because we manufacture, I want to say manufacture knowledge, we produce knowledge. Now, we can encourage all departments to include high level of sustainability into the curriculum. At least let it go around. Just if you are teaching law, you are studying history, studying English, engineering, put some level of consciousness of sustainability. Let them teach sustainable technology in all our faculties, and that can also help us to very large extent. Now you see, there's something I wrote here. When we were talking, yes, Nigeria has less than 10% contribution of manufacturing for national GDP. Okay, we are more or less like 80-90% a consuming country. We consume almost everything. And so the producing country never think about whatever they're selling around. The packaging, you don't care about it. Just look at this passage now. They are people, only for they are not doing it. Okay? Now, for them, doesn't matter. Produce it, bring it here, the dinner to buy it, consume it, and do the whatever it is, and destroy our price now. Now, we should be conscious of all of that. So, what we should encourage, one, the procurement unit, for example. Okay? There should be some level of security things that are smart and are sustainable. And that's very easy. When Professor asked that question, I was talking when I said, okay, what is alternative? Let's try alternative, for example. For water, can we package our water? Maybe a carbon coated container. Is it possible? Yes, why not? For quickly said, okay, we can buy dispensers, water dispensers. For the case, water dispensers for good energy. Okay? For minimum. So put the water dispenser at the home, yes, of go to drink water, drink up from your hotel, take a little of it, drink, and move. So we have water for across the university, that can also solve important. So with some of this, we can actually incorporate the thinking, the great thinking into our students, the smart thinking into everyone here, and the smart consumption. And that's how we say, think about the two concepts. Think great always, eat great always, and do what? And act great always. I want to go over that in the spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Prof, we are in the field. We are highly in the field. Thank you for your wonderful suggestion to adults. We are already taking notes of all your suggestions. By God willing, by the end of this program, we are going to design a community that will be sent to the university management from the department. Thank you once again. Then we move on to Professor Akinwole. Doctor, in the same spirit, what do you think Admiral can do in terms of research and products in order to reduce environmental pollution, especially pollution of the coastal region?
Thank you. Well, I think there is a lot we can do at the university. Professor Malugu mentioned the incorporation of climate change or sustainability concept into our curriculum. That is within our scope. But more importantly, we were already started, I mean, the university has already started that last week. We have more of renewable energy being utilized for common area, solar panels, here and there. But we can improve. The common use area, corridors, the school toilet, we can say, remove all the electrical fittings there, replace them by solar. That's energy efficiency. Then two, our AFC, well, when the way the university evolved, majority of our AFCs are energy dumping, the product. They dump energy enough. Replace them with inverter AFC. That reduces our energy consumption. Second, the temperature, we have thermos and maximum, minimum we can go is 20 or 22, 22 to 26. If what we need is for the environment to be cool, not to be cold. We are not, we don't want to become icy, do we? So that is that. 60 to 70% of the water we use daily goes to either washing of our body, washing our clothes, washing our pots, and flushing the toilet. Over 60%. I want to part in the project in a town called Telugu. I'm sorry, because I'm coming here. And we look at that community. There is a lot of rainwater harvesting. We can do that in Admiralty. Hostel rooftops, apartment rooftops, we can harvest rainwater. All we need to do is harvest them, put them together, and maybe 20% of our water consumption that takes up, the places next step of the pumping machine. We harvest the rainwater, standard the tools are standard. This is not non-potable water use. And when I mean potable, it's POTABLE.
water that you drink is what we call potable water. Anyone that is not potable use, we can use other sources of water, dehydrated, recycled water. You treat the water and then recycle it for watering of lawns, and cleaning of the gutters and water. We don't have to use the same potable water for everything. That's a lot of energy. That takes on a lot of stress, and then we are also going into the issue of partitioning of waste. That is within our department. We have organic waste separate. We use more of plastic on campus. If you know the amount of plastic generated at Admiral, you see our students coming up from there. Either they use water, plastic, or what plastic sorting. Do we do waste sorting? Sort plastic to a separate, we have separate things for that. That consciously, by the time the student passes 2 years to 4 years and go back home, that student gets married, we incorporate it into our culture. So, progressively as a university in our macro scale, we can do a lot in making sure that we are energy conscious, we are climate conscious, and make sure that we don't add up to the greenhouse gases that destroy our environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much. All your suggestions are noted. Dr. Keji, in the same spirit, sir, in what way, looking at your own area, almost similar to Dr. Balo, which other way did you think adults have contributed towards this cause?
Thank you very much. Fortunately, this program is being organized by Faculty of Science. I will try to explore the area of biomass as the means of generating energy. There can be collaboration between Faculty of Sciences and engineering to see how we can enhance our energy production and utilization in energy. Apart from solar technology, biomass, wind energy, we can go into those areas. It comes to the area and when it comes to Admiralty, everything we are using here is together. Biomass, solar, wind energy. No, fantastic for Admiralty. Then I also emphasize so I don't this what they don't just end up as a big series or whatever. Just like you said, let us be community that is held very seriously. Let's see how we can make Admiral, rid Admiral of excessive plastic goods. It is possible. Our community is large but small. We can enforce it. Simply by telling students when you are going to the cafeteria, go with your food class. And we found all manner of plastic food packaging. It's possible. You can eat there, or you don't want to eat there, go with your food class. That has eliminated every form of packaging of food with plastic. So we can come up with something. Start somewhere. You may not completely get to 100%. You can get 50%, even in the first year. And of course, the area of recycling.
Thank you very much.
Expedient at this point that the university members of the academic community, university, should embark on collaborative researches like he mentioned in the area of bioremediation and replanting of mangroves. The Delta State environment, the Niger Delta environment is in often places have been seriously polluted and degraded with the hydrocarbons. As a university, we could come up with different research clusters. Some of these have can focus on remediation, introducing the power of remediation or whatever technique you want to use, power stimulation, and then you remediate. And then when the remediation thing is done, you or the other members of the team can now enforce and group replanting. That's one way university can help collaborative and environmentally friendly and research. The other way is by planting, tree planting specifically indigenous species. What we have in hand is gradually the homogenization of the ecosystem, particular species. And then that on its own is fine. The tree is actually providing shade. So if you want to do more involvement, it skews the ecosystem towards an homogenized state where other ecosystem services are almost neglected. So we should actually bring in diversity, indigenous trees, tree planting. And then I think that will go a long way to help also the university can actually come up with organic farming initiatives. We can at different departmental level, the faculty level, we could actually encourage and train community people on organic farming. I think that will also go a long way to contribute to this fight against climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your suggestions. They are all noted for a better outcome and for a better environment. Ms. Philippa, in the same field, environmental correction, how do you think your field or adults can use your field in solving climate change problems, in solving solution issues?
Environmental corrections provide clarity and needed to monitor environmental contribution, access ecosystem health, and evaluate compliance with regulations for the environment. So by identifying these pollution sources and supporting effective remediation strategies, it helps protect biodiversity, conserve natural resources, and promote sustainable development. So basically, environmental science that gives a voice to the environment. It helps us uncover what happens, who is responsible, and what should be done to restore and protect our ecosystem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. With this, we come to the end of our plenary session. And sincerely thank our exceptional panelists for sharing their knowledge, for sharing their experience, and their insight with us today. One message that I'm resonating from the beginning of this plenary session to the end: environmental problems are caused by us, and we are the ones that can find solutions, sustainable solutions to environmental problems. Secondly, when it comes to the issue of our environment, it is not on just one generation. A generation causes problem, it is another generation that is suffering from it, and it is still another generation that will find sustainable solutions to it. And again, when it comes to the issue of our environment, it cuts across all disciplines, because all these things have one or two ways to contribute. Thank you very much once again for your important insights, and all your suggestions are well documented for future use. And then I received a series of questions
or request for questions from our audience. Please, if you have questions or contributions, please, the MC will moderate.
Vice Chancellor and respectable panelists, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the panelist, but at this point, you appear as if I'm get crashing to the wall. I've heard so much of the panelists. They made very good contributions. But from my team, they were much more concerned on the scientific approach in addressing environmental, what we call, degradation. But then, I think, as a school, as a scholar of history, there is more to the scientific approach in dealing with environmental problems. In the sense that if we don't look at the origin of environmental degradation, how does it start? How did it start? If we see capitalism is the base of what we are doing. Some of them have mentioned that human beings are the creators of what we are doing. Yes, I agree. If we look around the world today, in Africa, where the world is, when it comes to environmental pollution, but the real people who are causing this environmental pollution, Europe and Asia. If you are looking at it from the perspective of percentage, Africa does not contribute up 5% to the problem of the environment in the current sector. But at the receiving end, it is Africa that suffers at a scaling level of 90%. I think at a forum like this, we should look at this thing from this perspective. And for us to have a clear picture of what is happening, we should also take in the issue of governance. What are the relevance of our governments? What has been the role? How do they interact in the international community? One of you said mentioned something. We are still in the middle. Every night on a daily basis, by 1 o'clock to 5 a.m. I find it difficult to sleep. The place is highly connected from the Chinese company. You may ask yourself, how did these Chinese companies get in this place? They got what? Permit. If they got permit, are they simply monitored? And so, I agree with one of what you say, it is to add another strategy to this issue of environmental pollution. Let's look inwards. How do we relate? How do we govern? How do we carry governance at the international level? That will make this issue of environmental pollution not very bad for us. We are not on top of people coming to Africa. I think in the 80s or so, we one place in Lagos, they turned an area as it's not as forgotten. Although the student of people are forgotten now. They brought toxic waste from Brazil and they dumped it there. Oh, very good. And so, these are things from the perspective of leadership, our leaders to take into very serious consideration. Thank you.
At least for the sake of the live streaming, if you want to make contribution or ask questions, this is what we can so that we can camera and share the place. Thank you. So, this is going to the place because this is a camera and go live streaming.
The Vice Chancellor of Staff, every representative of the Vice Chancellor. The boss of the university, commodores on the librarian, members, the professors, the president, members of staff. If I do not stop, some people may think Professor George is not happy. I am very, very happy because they are in life. All that we are putting here with it are summarized in what is called sustainable development. And when you are talking of sustainable development, you are talking of energy component, you are talking of the environment, and you are talking of the economy. These are the three. If you go to the international house, you talk of dilemma of energy, of sustainable development. What we are saying here today is not new. My problem with this country, at all levels, as in modern African countries, we get the language. Just wasting our time at the National Assembly. Well, I don't say apology. They are not here for the people. What I been said here, these are the things that are important. Implementation. You go to Asabadia, College of Education. Dr. Phil, you are talking of environment. Built a biogas plant there in 2014. But then, for you, you are telling the biology and physics lab. Biogas plant, we are producing the gas to power the plant. I can go there. They are working. The first thing I identified when I came here was that the type of lamp they were using here was consuming 270 watts. I said, oh my God. When LED lamp of 80 watts is 82 brighter in the 80 watts. Brighter in the I did my research, coordinating the analysis, the Vice of staff. These people have been published, both in the international and the journal. The work that they have done here, they are here. Educating other people. And we are still talking about energy management, for goodness sake. What we do talking of capacity, working life. We are talking of energy wastage and all. We are not perfect. I'm telling you the truth. All the use of nothing. I say I am happy because the Bible says to be happy at all times. First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 15. Be happy and you are happy. You are not happy yourself. If you have to be good, you must have to keep it sustainable. I mentioned it. Here is the renewable energy center. What activities are going on there? Some people see it as a place, but you want to be rich for I have a talk. My PhD is yes, indeed, they are what? And I'll be like, very people and this is geopolitical zone, countries and sectors, right? So today I was Mr. Dele, for the vice chancellor, has made solar advocate of Nigeria because of this solar light I think because he sees solar here was invested because you know ourselves. What are you that you don't have for what you need just to drop with money? And they did it. What is happening? The company that is to avoid the answer, we don't need really need it. Couple has had ask your question. Even the morning the VC gave me the certificate of my work, I tell you my work. My work outside. My interest, you can see that this is a sense of person. So what you are talking to just deploy them. Let us not be talking too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, in the sake of time, let's take 1 minute in our contribution and questions, so that we can work with time.
Thank you very much. I'm going to entertain 2 more presentations just to do not let's see 1 minute. After 1 minute, I'm coming on, please. Vice Chancellor, every represented by the family. Please, I have a little contribution to make because when you talk about environmental issues concerning everyone, especially that of the Chinese companies which we have actually spoken about, even the last the professor and even our Professor Balu. And so for my contribution is that the university has a team of environmental a team that was assigned to take care of the environment. I think if the university can help them to actually find out the importance from the Ministry of Environment, because this is a very big challenge. If you look at that place, you find out that they are still building hostels, and some of our students are living very close to that particular place. And it's a very big challenge. So I don't know if any of our scholars have actually conducted a research there. So, but I am of the opinion that this team of our staff should actually, go to the Ministry of Environment or even the company to ascertain if they need environmental impact assessment. To actually know if what they are emitting is not that harmful to us. Because if we are looking at what you are participating, you will know that it is very, very harmful. They are very, very harmful substances. And so I feel that this is a very big challenge for happening. And we must know, because just like the professor said, issue of implementation, because when all the panelists they have presented, but their presentation is very fine, so much really recommendation for let us have actually.
Yes, thank you. Permitting that was the program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please permit me to start on the already existing protocol for the want of time. I'm so happy that this day is happening or has happened. I want to say that I'm a member of the Department of Biological and Forensic Science, and today we are marking the World Environment Day. And I'm so happy to be a part of that department, and I'm so happy for what we are doing here today. And just to add my voice, I would have been one of the panelists, but for the sake that I'm very strong, I couldn't be there. But I want to add my voice to what we have talked about today in terms of health, the public health aspect, which I'm an advocacy for. We know that these environmental challenges have a lot it affects humankind, looking at the SDG 3 goal, good health and good living. These days, so many people are in the hospital, so many ailments that cannot be treated. Over time, bioaccumulation, biomagnification, that results into malignant or benign cancer and all that. These are the effects of the some of the environmental challenges we face today. But I want to say that as a way that Admiral can also contribute to solving this problem is that we should continue to bring the town and the ground together in one word, in a sentence known as the triple helix model. I believe that the first research week we had, I want to let us know that the first research week we had in this university has to do with the triple helix model, bringing the town and the ground together. I want to suggest that as a university, we should continue in that spirit. We should work with the Ministry of Environment of the state. A major problem has been identified concerning a company over there. We should work with the Ministry of Environment, the State Ministry of Environment, because that company is situated in the state. It's not only here. If you go to somewhere around the Saba, you also see a filling station in between buildings. People are living around the filling station, but there's a filling station situated there. I saw in the website what's going on. So these are the ways. We can also conduct research around that environment, just like as Professor Ezeoba talked about with students working on heavy metal pollution using biomass. The same can be replicated there. Our students can study the plants around them, the microorganisms around them, animals around them, and see how the emissions from that company affects those living creatures. And when we are now speaking, we are speaking empirical data, we are speaking with facts that this and this and this is what we have done, this is what we are seeing. And but with that, we have that fact to present and say, no, this thing should stop. And then we should also know the standards, because there are standards before you emit some certain substances in the environment. We should look at those standards. There is standards. Standard Organization of Nigeria, which also I consult for. They have standards, limits to which waste can be emitted into the environment. So we should continue, we should consolidate on what we are already doing in Admiralty. And all what we have done here today, I want to plead that the management please help to see that all these things are being implemented. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pardon me, I said two people, I'm just going to give those people 1 minute. I promise you to see 1 minute to offer the mic. All right, thank you very, very much for the protocol units, not getting when it comes to the sciences and all that. But I think when the panelists in their section, I took note of something like all they were saying was beautiful ideas and solutions to the problem, but I want to just look at it from this angle. And looking at this part of our world where the level of industrialization and technological advancement still rise, and how practicable are these solutions that you are putting forward, considering the aspect of enforcing laws in this part of our world. When laws are put forward, law enforcement agencies go to make sure those laws are put in place. But you still see individuals or citizens, even with those agencies there, they still not in place. But what are the ways to mitigate this? That's my question. Thank you very much. Please, before our panelists answer that, please, let's see.
Okay, this is possible. My name is Admiral. I'm here to contribute from the question Engineer Dr. Shishin asked. Okay, talking about plastic persist in the environment and they are non-hydrogen. Sometimes it's bring on the solution. For instance, in terms of coke, cancer, can we just add something like can malt, can coke, can cancer? Those ones are recyclable, and they are very, when you recycle them, you tend to get more, they tend to get economically very good too. And another thing I want to say is in terms of water, plastic water. You're supposed to use this plastic. When you start this from where the consultancy is, and for instance, we are trying to produce water for ourselves. You're supposed to say you're going to use plastic to produce water. Where those people, where those people use paper? If you can take water from Columbia rivers, if you can store it in Columbia rivers, where those people use paper to store that liquid and sell it? That's just it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, part of the problem, Professor Admiral is not here. There is an aspect of environmental management that has to do with social justice. Social justice. Man's inhumanity to man. And again, the aspect of corruption. We were just talking about implementation. Professor Dele is always talking about implementation. Yes. Implementation of all the things we have been saying today is difficult because of social injustice and corruption. So we cannot divorce the social science aspect from environmental management. There's something called social determination theory. All these events, we have not focused on that today. We all of us here are scientists, so we are looking at it from that angle. So I was happy when I heard Professor Admiral talking about this social aspect of it, sociology, psychology. These are the areas that will come together. When you are dealing with human beings, in our laboratory we can control the variables. If you add acids and that, you expect reaction. But when you are dealing with human beings, somebody tells you this place is warm, another person will tell you it's food. That's the behavioral pattern, which must factor into environmental management and control. I hope that answers your point, because we have to fight corruption for us to succeed. Alright? They are burning something there, meeting. You go and meet all the policemen around and they go there and take money. And that's the end of the matter. So, for Dele, I think next time, help us to focus more on corruption. And you always talking about implementation. Yes! You cannot implement in a social system that is blatantly corrupt, and there's so much social injustice, inequity, lack of humanity.
Well, I want us to recognize something. There's a difference between ability to implement and willingness to implement. If all of us gathered there are convinced that some of the recommendations are doing, we start in our own little way, in your room, in your house, with your children, with your parents, with your students, with your lecturer. There's a book that says a little sleep, a little slumber, a little holding of the hand. Poverty will come to you like a plague. If we all believe that what we are doing today, what we are saying is climate change, because they are in the next 50 years, I will be no more. So those people that will live, that will suffer. They are your children and my own children and grandchildren. If they will say, when you are here, you do start in your own little way. So this law, let's take the government. The one that is within our own capacity, let's do it. We say, okay, reduce the use of plastic. Can we do that? When you are going to Mega Mart, bring your own grocery bag, your bag. Don't go there and collect the nylon there. That is it looks so small, but you discover that progressively we are all reducing greenhouse gases to the way we use it. That is what we focus on. Self-cost, they say it's not self-cost. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing. Please, welcome for the Thank you so very much. Thank you. Please, some of that will be Those for the traffic project. Very insightful discussion. Thank you. Thank you. So after listening to all the panelists today, I came to the conclusion that sustainable future is still very possible. On this note, the next on our agenda because of time is the environmental forensic drama presentation. Please, it's going to be very brief, quite very brief. Thank you.
Welcome to River, where deep waters and water run purpose, but something has gone terribly wrong.
Can't believe it. This river has lost this great thing. Yesterday, don't tell me. Today, look, nonsense. What am I supposed to do? This river has lost this great thing.
What am I saying? What's happening?
See what's happening. Look at our river. Look at it. It's as if someone put walking there. Both tires and all sorts inside. It's bad.
This is serious. Look at the fish are very. Even the water is we need to call the
Somebody move. Not even the fish. Exactly. That's what makes it more suspicious. Of course, they do. Environmental forensics help determine pollutants, help identify pollutants, determine the cause, and track who did it. But for some group of forensic scientists, don't get just pretty evidence. Oh, excellent. Pollution use microbes, just like criminals use fingerprints.
The water. Oh, tell me, what did the tiny humans in the water tell you? Oh, my God, business, ma'am. Interesting, now, what's the difference? Anyway, my water chemistry has changed. So many bacteria are now carrying the cause of petroleum contamination.
So I think the Americans can decide.
Exactly, microorganisms can definitely detect the type and content of this concentration.
And the microbes help cleanse polluted sites.
That's fine. Because science is not really.
Avoiding analysis is chemical substance from your partner. Environmental science compare microbial signature and contamination patterns.
Don't actually forget that I heard from few topics that someone is polluting the environment. Environmental pollution violates environmental regulation, which causes data penalties.
Environmental science uses scientific evidence needed to enforce law and justice.
Without evidence, there is people, but with evidence, there is accountability.
So what happens now?
We restore our environment.
We are environmental.
And hopefully, one day, my people will not conducting mineral services. For instance, environmental forensics help us detect pollution, identify pollution levels, track environmental crimes,
Use the Bible for remediation.
Support environmental advocacy.
Protecting the environment is not only one job of society, it is everyone's responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have come to the end of this program. Thank you so very much to all the distinguished guests. At this point, I would like to call on the head of the department for the closing remarks.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, as we bring this very enlightening and stimulating event to a close, I would like to express a profound gratitude to everyone who has contributed to the success of today's event. Firstly, I wish to thank the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor and the entire management team for their commitment to the initiatives that advance sustainability within Admiralty and environmental stewardship within the university community. So we are highly grateful for the approval of this event, and we know that from the discussions and discussions we have had today, so many contributions and recommendations have been made, and we hope that these contributions and recommendations will be implemented to make one of the universities in Nigeria that champions sustainability. I also want to appreciate my distinguished professors here present, deans and directors, heads of departments, heads of units, all staff of Admiralty University, and our students, luminary leaders of Admiralty. Thank you for lending your voices, your expertise, your passion to the cause of environmental sustainability. To our esteemed and distinguished panelists, we are deeply and warmly grateful for your insightful contributions, thought-provoking perspectives that have left some of us thinking of our next move on this call to action in the drive for sustainability. You have not only enriched our understanding of climate change, you have also made very beautiful proposals on the role the university must play in shaping its sustainable future. So I think today's participants, thank you for your eloquence, thank you for your confidence and intellectual engagement here today. Your presentation reminds us that a focus future in issues of environmental sustainability. To our moderator, our MC today from the department and the ICT unit, thank you for skillfully guiding the conversations and for enriching the lively and engaging conversations. I also want to appreciate the organizing committee of this event from the Department of Biology and Forensic Science. Under the leadership of Dr. Ezeoba, I want to thank you for your tireless effort that you put in ensuring that this program is a success. And to all my DBFS staff, amazing staff I have, your support, your unalloyed support of this HOD will never be taken for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, today's celebration is a reminder that environmental sustainability is not the responsibility of the few, it is the responsibility of all. The choices we make today will determine the quality of life we have tomorrow. Thank you so much. Once again, congratulations and happy World Environment Day.
To draw Europe on like the closing prayer, which is the first time that happened. Immediately after that, we will begin after reading and after group photograph. Thereafter, we have meetings that we one professor, one student, and one other person from the ICT. So please let's take
Wherever the last
closing prayer and
final environment, the main one should be
all government cooperation, grant peace and one respect, help us to be a nation where no man is oppressed, and so in peace and plenty, Nigeria is. Amen. Thank you very much. This is our call. We came in the ceremony for this program. These are one of the professors, one of the management, and one of the students for each of you.